Hi guys, this is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and you can maybe hear I've got a fan going and I've got water turned on outside to water the 4 tomatoes and 3 pepper plants I just stuck into the raised bed I had out there. Instead of creating a new one, I said, well, even with all these wisteria roots in the bottom, I just put a bunch of grass clippings down and then some 2 bags of bagged topsoil and 2 bags of black cow, and I'm just going to go with it for this year. We picked up 2 bush tomatoes and 2 regular tomatoes that'll get tall, and then we got 2 jalapenos and 1 yellow snacking pepper. Let's see, I got a bush tomato, Better Boy Bush, and then I got a cherry tomato, and then I got a yellow tomato and a Brandywine tomato. So my little garden is 4 tomato plants and 3 peppers. So this morning, all I'm going to do is kind of give you a rundown of what I have going on. You'll see the stack of fabric right there. That is for Project Dress a Girl. I have already cut out 4 dresses. I have more fabric prepped. So today I'm going to spend the day cutting those out. And when my back needs a break, I'm going to work on a new project because why not? I decided to use some of that thrifted yarn we just got. And I'm doing the dragon. You can see where the orange is. That's what I've gotten done so far. I just printed out another copy of the chart, slightly bigger, so I could color the squares in. So let me show you what I've got. Now my colors are different. And in the original, it was blue, purple, cream, and orange around the edge. My dragon is going to be red and gold with a cream background and sage on the edge. So what I have so far is this is the dragon. So if you're looking at the chart, you start in this corner and you work your way up. And that's what I've got going on here. And that doesn't look right. That looks right. That looks right. Yeah. Let me look. Yeah. So you start in this corner and work your way up across. This is the right side of the blanket, and then this is the back. They said to roll up a bunch of small balls. I'm just working from the skeins, and I'm leaving the tails on the back, and I'll sew them all in once I get the whole blanket completed. So this is a new project, something to keep me okay in the brain with everything that's going on. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that here. Just always need a project to calm my mind, and that's what this is. So I'm going to be cutting out dresses. I'm going to be working on this blanket. I still have the tub of yarn that I picked up, and I got the idea of maybe I will just start doing projects from that tub and work my way through this yarn. There's baby yarn in there, and there's all different kinds of yarn. So I might keep that tub of yarn just to be ready at hand to pull stuff on instead of adding it to the back room. I do still need to pre-wash the bird fabric and the knit fabric that might do my head in, but I am going to try to make a dress with this. And I believe it was New Look. I got to go pull the pattern out of my patterns. New Look 6210, and I'm planning to do View D. And I would show it to you if I had pulled it out, but I haven't. I finally got, let me set my yarn over a little bit. I finally got a replacement magnifying lamp in, and that's this guy right here, so that I can stitch on that 28 count Aida which is this project here, where I've started it. You can see my little needle minder is here, but I have one flower, the little flower in the top corner started. Hi, good morning, Joyce and Vicky. So hang on, I'm going to pull this out of here. I assure you I am, perhaps. I'm keeping it in its tube. So I'm glad to have this, and it lights up, and it's got different colors of light, different levels of light. The magnifier's, you know, a little different. But anyway, that came in. The first one I got, the box had been dropped so often that the base was all busted up. Pieces of black plastic were falling off. And I'm like, no, I paid nearly $50 for it. So yeah, it needed to work. So let me show you. I don't know if you can see, because it is a white flower. See it? Winter white flower. And it's hard to see, but I have started stitching on here without a magnifier, and oh boy. And then I was watching Lynn. Hi, Lynn. And she was talking about her fabric is even smaller. I think, Lynn, you said you're using a 30 count. I don't know how you do it. You must have a magnifying lamp. So I have that, and it's ready to go. And now I'm open at both ends. Hang on. I'm going to put this back in because I want to keep it clean. And I'm not planning to work on that right this minute. So back in your box you go. There we go. So I have that cross stitch project in the works, and that's the Nature's Journey. I got everything on the floor because all my surfaces are covered with things I'm working on. But this is what I'm working on, and that flower right there in the corner is the one I started. So I'm just going to start at this corner and work my way across and down. Yeah, that's the plan for that. And then I also have a project I started when I got New Craft Day wanted me to do a box opening for them. And I did the box opening, and I did start this kit. They gave me a couple kits for free, cross stitch kits. They also do diamond painting if you're into that. And I used to have a code. I don't know if it's still good or not. So, but anyway, I'll show you the first little bird, and I'm another little kitty needle minder. But this is the little bird, and this is a counted cross stitch. They also have printed cross stitch. So anyway, the little bird, it's 3 birds on a branch. And I would love to finish this one up as well. And this one's, I believe, 14 count. This one I can actually see. Now the 28 count, I'm working 2 threads over. So 2 threads side to side, 2 threads up and down. That's how I'm doing that. And Lynn was talking about she's doing hers over a single threads. So her print will, her piece will be smaller than mine, and compact. It'll probably be more compact. But the thing I loved about the New Craft Day is, you know, sometimes when you get these kits, you get the threads all together and just kind of tied in a looped knot. I hate that. What New Craft Day does is they separate the threads. They give you a card with all the threads on it, and they have these little slots in there that the thread is slid into, so you know all the numbers. These are the actual numbers on the chart, not the numbers of the floss. So yeah, I really like this kit. And if you're not into counted cross stitch, which I haven't done any in years, I'm just kind of stepping my tippy toe back in. I used to do it a good bit. But these little birds just spoke to me. They're just so cute. I got to do all the back stitching on that one. And I'd like to finish one bird totally before I move down the branch to the next bird. So that's the 2 cross stitches that I have in the works. My dragon afghan that I just started last night, and it's turning out so cute. And talked about that. This year for Project Dress a Girl, I'm doing one size, one style of dress, just so I can just get in the flow and just turn them out. I'll get the pattern here. The pieces for it are in that pile where I'm cutting things out. So I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging here in a little bit so I can watch videos over here and stand at the cutting counter over there. So what I am doing is this little dress, but it's all going to be the same on the outside, but the lining, the top part of it, all of it is lined. And I'm going to just put a little bit of fun fabric inside in the lining. And I have enlarged the heart pockets that come from a different dress, and I'm going to add them to this because that's one of the requirements for Project Dress a Girl. The dress must contain pockets and a Project Dress a Girl label. And you're not supposed to have any buttons, zippers, Velcro, any type of closure that could fail, and they would have no way to repair it. So I've got a bunch of these cut out. I'm also thinking about sometimes, depending on if I don't have quite enough for the whole dress, I can make the top a little different than the bottom. So some dresses might end up looking, put together, but a little mix of fabrics. So, yep, I'm doing size 5s in this style, the one right there, this girl here, except the top will be all the same. I'm not going to have the 2 different colors on the top. Plus, it'll have the heart pockets on it. And I need to really look at these because I think that's way too short. And I've already cut out some, but I think when I did this, I made the pattern longer. If I measure it and it looks like it's going to be, all the dresses will be too short, I can add a ruffle or something to the bottom of the dresses. So I can elongate these if I need to. Since I've already got 4 dresses cut out, it's a bad time to think about it. But yeah, that looks kind of short for Project Dress a Girl. All right, so that's that. I finished getting my twinchies into pocket pages here. So these are all those twinchies that we did that challenge for my, I think it was 2000 subbies, but I have gotten them in the pockets. And what I had to do, I think I said this in another video, is I had to make like little cards to mount them on. And then on the back, there's a slit here and you fill both pockets here. So I slid it in and just popped it open. And that's how I did that. Now, the ones with some dimension, those were a little bit difficult to get in that way, but some of them I went ahead and cut them, and some of them I got lucky. Like these were real dimensional, and because they're actual 2x2 canvases with a really thick butterfly, acrylic butterfly on them, but I got them in there. But yeah, these are all in here. Now that I have them in pockets, I don't have an album these will work with because these are actually larger than 12 inches across. So I can't get a 12 by 12 album to put these in, I don't think. This is a 12-inch ruler right here. and it's longer than this because the 12 inches ends here, and I'm another inch or so bigger. So I'm going to have to make covers, front and back cover for these, and then I'll probably do that slip knot binding so that the pages will open flat. And it's going to be difficult because these things are wiggly. So if you have any suggestions of what I could use for a cover, I was thinking of just going to the dollar store and getting some foam core board, the like poster board, but it's the foam core, so it's thicker, and just cut the covers and maybe cover them with some leatherette, because we have a bunch of leatherette from when Scott was doing sales in leatherette for antique radio recovering. So he said I could use some of that. So I could make a faux leather cover for all my Twinchy book, and then I can put this up and say it's done. I also, in stitching, I'm still working on the things I started. Oops, sorry, hit my knee. Ouch. Still working on that bin of stuff. Remember, I had 21 things that needed to be finished, and I finally got the another dragon. I sense a theme this week. This is a little shoulder dragon. You can, once it's filled, if you put the weighted type stuff in it, he'll flop on your shoulder and just ride there. And so my dragon is going to be red and gray. And I've got those up. Let me see. Hi, let's see. I've got Joyce and Vicky and April and Teresa. So good morning, everybody. Yeah, so I've got this little guy, and mine will look like the red one there. I think the reason I didn't get the goldish fabric at the time is they didn't really have any gold that spoke to me. So mine's going to be red and gray. So that's another project I'd like to finish. So I've got 2 cross stitch, an Afghan, Project Dresser Girl, the dragon. I got to finish that album. So I've got enough to keep me busy when it's over 100 degrees this week, which is going to be miserable to be outside. And I'm really hoping the tomatoes and pepper plants I just put out can cope. I'm going to let that water run a little bit longer and then cut it off so that the water can be dry on the leaves before the sun is straight overhead. It's not good to have water on tomato leaves anyway. You should really water them from the bottom. I do not have a soaker hose right now, but I might look into getting one. And yeah, I'm interested to see what the yellow tomato is going to be like. I'm hoping the roly-polies and other bugs don't tear them up out there in the yard, but it's the only way to try is to do. Let's see. You don't think I have enough projects? I always have many projects. And plus, yeah, there's the yard needs to be done. There's so much work out in the yard that I need to do. But today, I'm taking the day off from the yard because I mowed yesterday because I knew it was only going to get hotter this week. So I went out there and I mowed early. I know the neighbors probably thought, it's Sunday, for crying out loud. Knock it off. But I started mowing at like 7 o'clock out front. Out in the backyard, I have to wait for the sun to get up a little bit because it stays so damp back there until about 10:30, 11 o'clock when the sun is direct overhead at that time. And I was about to die when I finished up out back. But I also, I mowed the backyard, and because we'd had so much rain, there was so much grass, I just raked the grass up because I didn't put the bag on the machine. I've been just mowing with the mulching blade to feed the lawn. The grass clippings will break down and it actually feeds the lawn. So you don't need a bunch of chemicals on your lawn to fertilize it. You just need to use a mulching blade and let nature take its course and it will feed itself. So I had to rake up some of it because it was so dense. I put that on that garden spot, and then I emptied the bags of black cow and topsoil on top of the grass clippings, and that's what I have the tomatoes and peppers planted in. I have another raised bed that's just beyond that one. Here, I can show you. Bernadette's out there going, Mom's out here somewhere. So this is out back, and it's not like in the screen on the window, but you can see where the sprinkler is. That is where I planted the tomatoes and the peppers. There goes Bernadette. She's trying to figure out where I am. She can't see. She can't hear. She's just sniffing. She says, Mom's out here somewhere. She's right around here. She'll start doing circles. One of my favorite rounded bottom pots must have gotten frozen. I went to pick it up and the whole thing disintegrated. So I need to finish cleaning that mess up. And the camera's having issues with the screen. So we'll just turn y'all back around here to the mess and me. Hello. Hi, Karen. I know. I've been watching UK Sewist over there and Little Workroom Crafts. She was talking about just feeling like she was melting away. And I know you guys don't have the air conditioning. I would die if I didn't have air conditioning here because we're looking at over 100 degrees and feeling like well above that most of this week. We are expecting a chance of rain on Wednesday, which will at least cool us down a little bit for an overnight. But then that rain will add to the humidity. And it's just a vicious cycle. You want the rain, but then you know that that's going to add to the humidity and the stickiness. And I gave up wearing makeup a long time ago because it's a waste of money because it doesn't stay on you down here in the South. Plus, it's not, I don't think it's good for your skin. But anyway, that's my opinion. So I guess I'll let you guys go. I don't want to keep you. I'm going to get busy. I got to clear the decks over there, which means what I'll do is I'll take all that fabric and I'll pile it here on this table so I can gain access to the fabrics. And I really needed to have come up with some place to put the cutout pieces so far. I think I have an Amazon box that'll work for it in the front room. So I'll grab the Amazon box to just put the dresses in. Once I get that stack cut out into dresses, I'm going to separate the dresses by color. And so like all the blue dresses that are like the same value, and I'll just use the same thread for all of them. And what I'll do is because I'll have them by color, I'll do like all the blue dresses, all the green dresses, and I'll do like the same order of operations. I'll do the same thing across the board, and then I'll move on to the next thing. So it'll be almost like working in a factory where I'll just run things through. So that's my plan for today. I will be in the stitch hour later at 2 p.m., 2 to 3. I'll stop in there, but I'm only going to be able to stay an hour today because I've got to get things done. So I will see you guys on Wednesday at 1:30. All right, bye.